will never dominate what you continue to tolerate. And right now, you're tolerating your own excuses. You will never dominate what you continue to tolerate. That statement alone could change someone's life if they truly understood it. Not just heard it, not just wrote it down, but lived it. Too many people say they want success. They say they want greatness. They say they want greatness. They say they want more out of life. Better finances, stronger relationships. They're tolerating habits, behaviors, and environments that directly contradict what they claim to want. You say you want to dominate in your career, but you keep tolerating laziness. You hit snooze 3 times before getting up. You don't show up early. You give 70% effort and expect 100% results. It doesn't work like that. You can't dominate when you tolerate procrastination, disorganization, and emotional inconsistency. Domination requires a different level of commitment. It demands that you cut off the things that hold you back, not excuse them, not justify them, but confront them head on and eliminate them. Some of us are stuck because we've gotten too comfortable tolerating our own excuses. We say things like, I'm tired, it's not the right time, I've got too much going on, or maybe next year. Those are not legitimate reasons, they're tolerated limitations. You've made peace with being average and then wonder why you don't feel fulfilled. You've convinced yourself that your situation is fixed, when in reality, your standards are just low. When you tolerate mediocrity, mediocrity becomes your lifestyle. You keep bad habits close like they friends, when in truth, they're enemies disguised as comfort. You tolerate people who don't support your growth. You tolerate thoughts that sabotage your confidence. You tolerate skipping the gym, tolerating that fast food, tolerating debt, tolerating self-doubt, and it adds up. Every time you say, it's okay, I'll fix it later, you're making a silent agreement with your lower self. There is no domination without discipline. You can't rise to greatness while being a prisoner to your old patterns. And I'm not saying change is easy. I'm saying domination requires discomfort. It requires stepping into areas of your life where you've been passive, where you've let fear run the show, where you've accepted just enough. You've got to disrupt that pattern, dominate it. Think about this. The version of you that has everything you want, the success, the peace, the power, the respect, that version of you is already out there. But they live on the other side of your excuses. They live beyond what you're tolerating right now. They wake up earlier. They push past pain. They focus when it's boring. They don't negotiate with weakness. That version of you is already available, but only to the you that stops tolerating what's holding you back. If you want to win in life, you have to raise your standards. And when I say standards, I don't mean the inspirational quotes you post on Instagram. I mean the real, daily, non-negotiable behaviors you commit to. Your standards are what you allow. If you allow excuses, you'll never experience excellence. If you allow negativity, you'll never reach new levels of performance. If you allow fear to drive, you'll never know what real freedom feels like. You weren't created for survival mode. You weren't built just to get by. There's more inside of you, but you can't unlock it by coddling weakness. It's time to raise the bar on what you will and won't accept from yourself. It's time to confront the patterns that have kept you average. It's time to stop pointing fingers and start taking ownership. Dominate your thoughts, dominate your time, dominate your emotions, dominate your discipline, dominate your life. But it starts with one decision. I will no longer tolerate anything that keeps me from becoming who I was meant to be. Because you will never dominate what you continue to tolerate. And deep down, you know it's true. Excuses are not reasons. They're lies dressed in comfort. Let that settle for a second. Most people don't even realize how often they deceive themselves. They believe they're being honest when they say, I didn't have time, or I wasn't ready, or I had too much going on. But those aren't reasons, they're just excuses. And while they sound harmless, they're deadly to your progress. See, an excuse is like a blanket you wrap around your failure to make it feel warm, safe, and justified. It gives you temporary relief from responsibility, but long-term pain from unfulfilled potential. Excuses are clever. They disguise themselves as logic. They sound like protection, like you're being realistic. But in truth, they're just permission slips you give yourself to stay the same. And as long as you keep making them, you're building a prison. One you can't break out of because you're the one reinforcing the walls. The real danger is that excuses allow you to keep your pride. They let you say, I could have done it if, and that if becomes your out. It becomes your safety net. So you don't have to face the truth that you didn't show up, you didn't give full effort, or you let fear win. You get to protect your ego at the expense of your growth. That's the trade-off. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Your life is a reflection of the excuses you've believed. You believe you didn't have enough time, but the reality is you didn't make the time. You believe you weren't ready, but no one ever is. Readiness is a myth. Growth doesn't wait on comfort, and success doesn't care about your feelings. Excuses are the language of the average. Champions don't speak in excuses, they speak in action, in effort, in execution. If they fall short, they don't deflect, they reflect. They ask themselves, where did I go wrong? What can I do better? They don't say, well, the timing wasn't right, or that person didn't help me. No, they take ownership, because ownership leads to improvement. Excuses lead to stagnation. The scary part, the more excuses you make, the better you get at them. You start stacking them like trophies. Each one a justification for why you're not where you said you would be. And before you know it, you've got a shelf full of reasons, but an empty life. A head full of dreams, but no results. You've gotten good at talking about what you would do, could do, should do, and forgot how to actually do. But let me be clear. This isn't about guilt. It's about awareness. It's about pulling the mask off your excuses and seeing them for what they really are. Lies. Lies that rob you of your power. Lies that slow you down. Lies that let fear lead while courage sits in the back seat. And until you get brutally honest with yourself, nothing changes. You've got to stop negotiating with your excuses. Stop making space for them. Stop giving them airtime in your head. Every time you say, I can't, ask yourself, is that the truth or just the story I've been repeating so I don't have to be uncomfortable? Most of the time, it's just fear disguised as logic. And here's the good news. Once you stop making excuses, your energy shifts. You stop wasting time defending limitations and start using that time to build solutions. You stop playing small and start making moves. You start waking up with purpose instead of regret. It's time to raise the standard on your honesty. Excuses might make you feel good in the moment, but they steal your future. The work is hard, yes. The path is uncomfortable, yes, but it's worth it. Because the moment you stop lying to yourself is the moment you step into real power. No more pretending. No more defending average. Excuses are easy, but excellence isn't found on easy street. If you want the life most people don't have, you have to do what most people won't. That starts by calling out the excuses and replacing them with action. No more lies, no more comfort, only truth, only work, only growth. Your future doesn't care how valid your excuse is. That line hits hard because it shatters the illusion we often cling to. The belief that if our excuse is good enough, it somehow softens the blow of missed opportunities. But the truth, the future doesn't bend to your feelings. It doesn't pause for your story. It doesn't reward you for how well you explain why you didn't try, didn't start, or didn't finish. You can have the most understandable excuse in the world. You could have had a rough childhood, a lack of support, financial pressure, sickness, betrayal. And yes, those things are real. They're painful. They might even slow you down. But they don't change the facts. Your dream will not wait for you. The clock doesn't stop ticking because life got hard. Success does not grade on a curve. See, the world runs on results. The scoreboard only shows wins and losses, not effort, not intention, and definitely not excuses. You could be a good person with a good heart and a good reason why you didn't get it done, but the promotion still goes to someone else. The opportunity still passes. The door still closes. Now, don't get it twisted. This isn't about being cold or heartless. This is about understanding how life really works. The future has no empathy for your delay. That's not to say people won't, but life, success, destiny, they're not sentimental. They respond to action, not explanation. You can't build a future on reasons. You build it with decisions. The decision to keep showing up when it's inconvenient. The decision to push past what hurts you. The decision to do the work when no one is watching and nothing is guaranteed. A lot of people confuse fairness with reality. Life isn't fair, but it is honest. It will reflect exactly what you put in, not what you wanted to put in, not what you meant to do. It responds to what you actually did. And that's where a lot of people get stuck. They spend so much time trying to justify their inaction that they forget the world only responds to movement. Your future is shaped by what you do in the dark, not what you say in the light. It's shaped by how you respond when the pressure is on. It's shaped by how you respond when the pressure is on. When everything in you wants to quit, and when nobody would blame you if you did, that's when the foundation of your future is being laid. The dangerous thing about excuses is they make sense in the moment. They sound rational. They feel protective. But the pain of regret lasts way longer than the discomfort of discipline. The future doesn't soften because you had a good excuse. It only rewards those who pushed anyway, who figured it out anyway, who took the hit, wiped the tears, and still showed up. You've got to stop asking for sympathy from your future and start earning respect from it. You need to look forward and say, I know what I've been through, but I'm not letting that define where I'm going. The past might explain you, but it doesn't excuse you. It's time to stop trying to make your excuse make sense and start making your action make change. Listen to me. The people who win aren't always the smartest. They're not always the most talented, but they are the ones who refuse to let their excuses be louder than their effort. They're the ones who say, yeah, I've got challenges, but I've also got goals. I've got pain, but I've also got purpose. And I'm not going to let one cancel out the other. The most dangerous phrase in the world is, I'll do it when, because when never comes. The conditions are never perfect. Life is always messy. There will always be something. So stop waiting for it to get easier. Stop waiting for things to line up. Start moving now, despite your excuse, not because you got rid of it. You don't need permission. You don't need every answer. You don't need a good excuse. You need to take control. Because your future doesn't care how valid your excuse is, but it will celebrate how relentless your action was. Stop making excuses. Start making decisions. It sounds simple, but it's one of the hardest things to do because making a decision means closing the door on excuses. And most people don't want to give that up. They like having a way out. They like having a reason to fall back on when things get uncomfortable. But real change, real growth, that only happens when you stop trying to escape the hard parts and start committing to the real work. An excuse is easy. It gives you a reason to stay in the same place. It keeps you safe, keeps you comfortable, and lets you pretend you're still thinking about it or waiting for the right time. But let's be honest, most people aren't waiting, they're stalling. They're afraid to fail, afraid to look foolish, afraid of discomfort. So instead of making a clear decision to move forward, they keep hitting the pause button, hoping somehow the perfect moment will magically appear. But here's the truth. Success doesn't come from hesitation. It comes from decisions. Clear, committed, consistent decisions. You don't drift into greatness, you decide to go there. You draw a line in the sand and say, this is who I'm going to be. This is what I'm going to do. This is the standard I'm going to live by. And once that decision is made, everything changes. When you make a real decision, excuses stop mattering because it's no longer about convenience. It's about commitment. It's not about what you feel like doing. It's about what you said you would do. That's the difference between people who talk about their dreams and people who live them. One makes excuses, the other makes decisions and follows through. Every time you avoid a decision, you give away your power. You let life push you around instead of taking charge of your direction. And indecision, that's a decision too. It's a decision to stay stuck, a decision to stay average, a decision to remain at the mercy of your fears instead of stepping into your future. Now let's be clear. Making a decision doesn't mean it'll be easy. In fact, it often gets harder. That's why so many people never really decide. Because once you commit, you've got to back it up with action. You've got to show up every day, even when you don't feel like it. You've got to be disciplined when no one's watching. Stay focused when distractions are screaming. And keep moving forward when the results are slow. That's why decision is power. Because it forces growth. It forces you to rise above your excuses. It forces you to become someone new, someone stronger, sharper, more driven. And that version of you, that version doesn't live in the land of excuses. That version lives in action, in execution, in ownership. You say you want to be great? Then stop explaining why you haven't started and start deciding who you're going to be. Decide you're done blaming other people. Decide you're done letting fear drive. Decide that your goals matter more than your comfort. Decide that nothing, and I mean nothing, is going to stop you from becoming the person you were created to be. Don't wait for someone else to make it easier. Don't wait for a perfect plan. You already know what to do. You've had the vision. You felt the calling. You've seen the life you want. Now it's time to decide you're going to go get it. No more halfway. No more I'll try. No more maybe. It's yes or no. It's in or out. It's now or never. Because until you decide, you will always find an excuse. But the second you decide, excuses lose their power. It's time to stop making excuses. Start making decisions. Your future depends on it. You don't get what you wish for, you get what you work for. This isn't just a motivational quote, it's a reality check. Wishing is easy. Everybody has wishes, everybody has dreams. Everybody talks about what they want. A better life, more money, deeper relationships, more peace, more purpose. But the truth is, the people who actually get those things aren't the ones who sit around visualizing them. They're the ones who wake up every day and work for them. They're in the gym before sunrise, reading books while others scroll, staying late while others leave early, doing the hard things when no one is watching. They don't just want it, they earn it. Too many people think wanting something is enough, that if they wish hard enough, if they pray, if they speak it into the universe, somehow it's going to show up. But wishing without working is just fantasy. You can write your goals on a vision board, repeat affirmations every morning, and listen to all the motivational podcasts in the world. But if you're not putting in the work, none of it matters. Your hustle has to match your hope. Your grind has to match your goals. That's why success is so rare, because while everyone wants to win, very few are willing to pay the price. They want the results, but not the responsibility. They want the reward, but not the routine. They want to shine, but not to struggle. But that's not how life works. You don't get to skip the grind and still collect the prize. That's not how greatness is built. It's built in silence, in sweat, in sacrifice. Every person who has what you say you want didn't get it by accident. They didn't stumble into it. They worked for it. They bled for it. They went without sleep for it. They chose discomfort over ease. While other people were talking about what they were going to do, they were out there doing it. While others were watching Netflix, they were building skills. While others complained about how hard it was, they were using that pain as fuel. So the question becomes, are you wishing or are you working? You say you want to lose weight, are you working for it or just wishing for it every Monday morning? You say you want to start a business, are you studying, saving, planning, or just daydreaming while scrolling social media? You say you want better relationships. Are you putting in the time to communicate, listen, show up, or just hoping people will change for you? Because real work is ugly sometimes. It's repetitive. It's exhausting. It's lonely, but it's also transformational. The grind builds more than results. It builds character. It teaches you discipline, patience, resilience, the very things wishing never will. Working for something changes you. It hardens your mindset. It sharpens your focus. It makes you more grateful, more humble, and more unstoppable. Because when you've worked for something, I mean really worked for it, you don't take it for granted. You don't fold when things get tough. You don't look for shortcuts. You double down. But let's be real. Working for something also requires honesty. You have to stop lying to yourself about your effort. You can't say you gave it your all when you know you didn't. You can't keep calling laziness rest or distraction self-care. At some point, you've got to look in the mirror and admit that your results are reflecting your work ethic, not your potential, not your dreams, but your work. That's the truth most people avoid. But if you can face it, you can change everything. Because once you decide to work like your goals depend on it, not wish, not wait, not hope, but work, then you become dangerous. You become a problem for every excuse, every doubt, every obstacle. You stop needing motivation because your mission is bigger than your mood. So no more waiting, no more wishing, no more someday. The life you want isn't coming to find you. You have to work to go get it. Because at the end of the day, you don't get what you wish for, you get what you work for. Excuses are comfortable, but purpose is powerful. That's the battle happening inside you every day. Comfort versus purpose. Excuses pull you toward ease, toward safety, toward staying the same. But purpose demands more. It stretches you, challenges you, and asks you to become someone you haven't been yet. And that's exactly why so many people live far below their potential. Not because they aren't talented or capable, but because they've chosen comfort over purpose too many times. Comfort feels good. It tells you you're fine where you are. It whispers, take a break, try again later. It gives you a million reasons why today isn't the day to push yourself. And if you listen long enough, comfort becomes your identity. You start building a life around what's easy instead of what's necessary. You stop growing. You stop reaching. You stop fighting for more. And the worst part, you don't even realize it's happening because comfort is sneaky like that. Excuses are the voice of comfort. They're how you justify quitting, how you avoid the uncomfortable work. They're how you protect your pride without taking responsibility. But purpose doesn't allow you to hide behind excuses. Purpose calls you out. It says you're built for more. Act like it. It says there's something inside you this world needs. Stop playing small. The reason purpose is so powerful is because it gives your pain a reason. When you know your why, the how becomes easier to face. That doesn't mean it hurts less. It means you stop letting the hurt stop you. Purpose gives weight to your struggle. It makes the sacrifices worth it. It turns the late nights, the early mornings, the tough decisions into something meaningful. When you're driven by purpose, you'll do things people who live by excuses would never do. But here's the hard truth. Purpose isn't found in comfort. You don't find your purpose lying on the couch. You find it in the tension, in the friction, in the moments when everything in you wants to quit, but something stronger in you says, keep going. You discover who you are when excuses no longer run your life. When you stop giving yourself permission to settle. Too many people wait for purpose to feel good before they follow it. But purpose doesn't always feel good, at least not at first. It feels demanding. It feels inconvenient. It asks for your energy, your time, your focus, your consistency. It doesn't ask you to be perfect, but it does ask you to show up even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. That's when purpose sharpens you. That's when it transforms you. The shift happens when you stop asking, what's the easiest way, and start asking, what's the right way? When you stop trying to make your journey smooth and start making it significant. When you realize that comfort might feel good now, but it leads to regret later. Purpose might hurt now, but it leads to fulfillment later. And that's a trade-off worth making every single time. You have to choose purpose over excuses daily. It's not a one-time decision. It's a lifestyle. It's waking up and reminding yourself, I'm not here to be comfortable. I'm here to grow. I'm here to impact. I'm here to become who I was born to be. That kind of mindset doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you decide that living a purpose-driven life matters more than protecting your ego or avoiding discomfort. Purpose is not about perfection, it's about direction. You might stumble, you might fall, but as long as your eyes are on your purpose, you'll rise again. You'll keep pressing forward. You'll learn, adjust, evolve, but you won't quit. Because excuses don't live in the same house as purpose. One has to go. So ask yourself, what's leading your life right now? Excuses or purpose? Comfort or calling? The easy way or the right way? Because in the end, excuses might make you feel safe, but they'll never make you strong. Comfort might feel good now, but it costs you everything later. And purpose, real purpose, is powerful enough to carry you through any pain, any obstacle, any excuse you've been hiding behind. Choose it, live it, let it lead.